I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Tales of horror that will give you the creeps.
This is going to be extremely painful, Mr. Verrill.
The most fun you'll ever have being scared. Creepshow. Rated R.
Now playing at a theater near you.
Hey, this is Matt once again. What about another review? And there's another request for Felix, as for the original Creepshow. Now, first off, anyone wants to request any type of video, review, re-review, topic, reaction, anything of that sort, you just send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Creepshow, I've always enjoyed. I easily think it's one of the best anthology films out there. I think George Romero and Stephen King did a wonderful job working together, and they crafted quite a few fun stories. Just of the 5, I would say I enjoy 4 of them. The first one, Father's Day, I'm not really big on, but the other ones I thought were rather fun. And what makes the movie work is, number one, it has a great cast. I mean, you got Tom Atkins, Adrienne Barbeau, you got Hal Holbrook, you got Lizzie Nielsen, Ted Danson, E.G. Marshall. Many of these actors, they work very well with the roles that they're given. Even Stephen King, for the type of role he's supposed to play and the type of tone that the story is of Jordy Verrill, he works for that type of story, which I'll get to. So, another reason is this has some very well done direction by George Romero. And the way it's edited together and the presentation, the style, makes the film work very well, because there are a lot of moments. For example, when Ted Danson in the story, Something to Tide You Over, you have the shot where he's underwater and you have this light, and the light's getting brighter and brighter and brighter, this pinkish, purplish light. Or when Leslie Nielsen turns around and he sees the zombies there, and then you have this interesting background and color scheme. This has a nice usage of color scheme to make it look like an easy comics feel, tone, and very apparent that that is one of the big influences for this movie, for this anthology. Jordy Verrill, you at times see the landscape of Jordy Verrill's place, and when he first finds the meteor, there's like this purplish hue in the sky. In the crate, when the monster comes out and there's Adrienne Barbeau, again, the interesting colors in the backgrounds for each of the characters that's put into that specific scene. It gives it a vibrancy and style that sadly you don't see any other Creepshow films. You don't see in Creepshow 2, which is a decent film, but that's one of the things that was a step down. You definitely don't see it in Creepshow 3. But at times you see comic book panels for transitions. Sometimes you have Dutch angles where the camera's tilted. Like I said, the usage of colors and style. There's a lot of style in this movie. And I don't know why no one's ever followed through on that in the sequels. I just don't understand that. That makes it stick out a bit more. That makes it a bit more interesting and gives a bit more... Think of food. It's another seasoning that makes it taste that much better. And also the score. The score is very effective. Again, that's one of the things I was disappointed in the second film, is that the score, while there are moments that work, I think it's very inferior to the score in this one. The score in this is beautiful at times, especially the opening theme, the na 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 na. It's a beautiful score. I keep wanting to stress that out. I would say my favorite piece of music is during the Something to Tide You Over segment. That boom, 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 boom. But the rest of the segments have good music as well. But for some reason, the music in the Something to Tide You Over segments struck out at me compared to the others. But yeah, excellent score. And then the stories, yeah, okay. This is to counter Guillermo del Toro's bullshit reason as to why that Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, why that wasn't an anthology. And he's like, well, the worst story is what people remember from the movie. I'm like, you're full of shit. To me, Father's Day is the worst story, but that's the one I remember the least. I remember the crate more. I remember the creeping up on you more. I remember Something to Tide You Over more. Jordy Verrill story more. Not Father's Day. So I disagree with that sentiment. To me, that's a bullshit sentiment. That's my opinion. You have the wraparound with Tom Atkins as his father who slaps his kid, and the kid's actually played by Stephen King's son, and all this horror crap, throws it in the garbage, and then the kid sees the creep, which we'll admit, that effect, it's not the look that's the problem. It seemed as if they could not move it that much. It kind of just stands there kind of stiffly. So I could see why they went into animation for the creep to showcase the stories. Because I don't know if they just didn't have a hand. Because the thing with Tom Savini, he did the effects. He works more with gore gags than creatures and animatronics. Although the creature in the crate is pretty cool. I know he got advice from Rob Bottin on how to do that. Since Rob Bottin was working, he had done The Howling, he was working on The Thing. That's another thing. This film came out in 1982. You look back on that year, which was Star Trek 2 and John Carpenter's The Thing, and I think Conan the Barbarian, and a lot of... It's a very stellar year for movies. This was no exception. Now, again to the wraparound. Yeah, I thought the animation worked well. You had some great artwork for the comic book panels that it showcases throughout. In the going from one story to another, going back into the comic book. There's some really beautiful artwork. Again, that EC Comics feel. Father's Day, the first story, I could never get into. All I can think of is Ed Harris as Goofy Danson with his Goofy Danson and the corpse that comes back looks neat, and Ed Harris dies from the slowest moving tombstone ever. Those are the three things I always take away from this. Goofy Danson, Ed Harris being so stupid he's going to let a tombstone I did it. You're afraid, but you're not sure, but it's moving like this. Move. Jump. Move. Get out the way. Get out the way, bitch. Get out the way. And something about that story, compared to the others, I just never got into it that much. I never got into maybe the story per se, this abusive father, this abusive person, verbally abusive, and then this old woman, the daughter kills him. It's years later, comes back, wants his take, his Father's Day take. Where's my take? I mean, I guess it's fine as a taste, as a teaser, as introduction. And, it works that I think that's the weakest story, and it's the first one. So you get through that, you get better and better stories, in my opinion. I can't really detail what it is about that story that didn't work. Just as it has some nice color scheme and lighting, and the look of the corpse is pretty cool. It just never grabbed me as a story compared to others. Now the second story, The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill, this is a fun one. Because Stephen King, it plays off like a cartoon. Even the soundtrack at times plays off like a cartoon. And the way he acts, it seemed like he'd be friends with Yosemite Sam or Longhorn Foghorn. Leghorn, I can't say his fucking name right. Foghorn Leghorn. Oh, Verrill's luck is always in, and you spell that luck B-A-D, or meteor shit. And his dreams of this meteor get him so much money, a whole $200. And when it breaks, oh, Jordy, you lunkhead. And then his dream goes into, not only is he not going to pay him, that's later on, but I wouldn't even give you 2 cents for this. And then when he starts getting this stuff on his fingers, he imagines that if he goes to the doctor, he's like, ooh, we're going to have to take those off. It's going to be very painful. And there's some nice, what's what I'm looking for? There's a nice framing. Like you have Stephen King in the background here, and you have the doctor, and you have like a blade here covering half his face, and he's looking at, there's some nice framing in these sequences too. I didn't sort of give that comic book look to it, and the framing of a lot of these sequences. And like I said, I like that with this movie, he will use lighting to tell the story. What I mean by that is because this meteor, all this weed and grass starts growing, and he starts it on his fingers. And then this light kind of shines, this blue hue. And the reason that's done is he gets the realization he had put these in his mouth. And then it fades away. And that's what I mean, like even with the lighting and that type of color scheme, he's able to tell the story, George Romero. And that's very interesting. And sadly, again, they don't follow that up in the second one. I don't know why. You would think that'd be an important part, but they don't. And they did fucking jack shit in the third one, which Felix also requested those, so I'll get to that. And weed starts growing everywhere. Now by this point, I'm like, Jordy, just try to get help somewhere. You got all this grass on you. Just try to leave and get somewhere for help. At least try. But he doesn't. And all, the look of the grass everywhere looks cool. It's a different, unique look, vibrant look with how green this space grass, I don't know what the fuck you call it. And then there's also a tragic story, because Stephen King's character, he's not a bad guy, he's not a bad person, he's not that smart, but it's tragic because he really didn't deserve his fate. I mean, yeah, he I guess if you mean he deserved for how stupid he was, but he didn't mean any harm, and no one ever thought this would come from a little meteor. And I don't know, it's a sad ending for his character, because so the title fits, the lonesome death of Jordy Verrill, where by this point he's now all covered in grass, and he's praying that he could do one thing right, shoots himself. But while he's dead, plants are spreading everywhere. And I guess it works. Number one, spoiler with the title, the lonesome death, so he's not going to make it out. The title spoils it for you. And I thought it was, if you're going to do that, do it well. And this was done well, because there was this gradual realization of, yeah, this ain't going to end all covered in roses. Yeah, it's a tragic story, but at the same time it's cartoonish, it's fun. Stephen King, he's entertaining, and it fits with sort of the tone of the story. See, this is how you do a comedic story well, unlike Creepshow 3, which had, oh my god, this wife to be looks weird, she sounds weird, she must be a robot, let's just kill her and tear her apart. I could do that some of a bitch in later. And here's the third story, which I think is, I don't know if I was going to say underrated of a story. I mean, it seems like the story that people kind of talk less about when they talk about Creepshow, but it's actually one of my favorites, because I love the cast. Ted Danson, Leslie Nielsen, and even Galen Ross from the original Dawn of the Dead. And like I said, this has my favorite music. I just really like the score. And Leslie Nielsen is just a fun but evil son of a bitch. You get the idea that Ted Danson's been sleeping with his wife, but that's because Leslie Nielsen's an evil asshole. So he tells Ted Danson, hey, you want to see my wife, your lover? You better follow me. Oh, I got her at the beach. Ted Danson tries to help her. She's not there. Leslie Nielsen has a gun. You're going to bury yourself up to your neck. And so he's buried up to his neck in the sand right by the ocean. And then Leslie Nielsen sets a TV up, and apparently Galen Ross is in the same predicament. And Leslie Nielsen is having a ball. He's laughing. He's enjoying himself. But he can also play serious. People forget he started off as a serious actor before Airplane. In those movies, he was a very serious actor. So he can play that, and he does it well as a villain. Because when he goes back, he's laughing, he's watching the TV, but then he grows serious. He's like, you gotta hold your breath there, Harry. You gotta hold your breath. And just like the moment where Ted Danson's watching the TV and this woman that he loves is going through this and he can't do anything about it. And like the way the music is, it's very sad. It does bring emotions out of the sad, tragic part. And I like Ted Danson. Now, it seems like Ted Danson doesn't give a shit about Creepshow because he never brings it up. He never talks about it. And it's sad because I think he did a good job and it's a great movie. So better than some of the shit he's been in. Like Getting Even with Dad or whatever the fuck that movie was. Well, to be fair, that's not the worst movie ever. It is what it is. I haven't seen it since years and years, so maybe it'd be better than I remember. But okay, 3 Men and a Little Lady, this is a whole lot better than 3 Men and a Little Lady. That film does suck. This comes from a guy who's a huge fan of 3 Men and a Baby. And the sequel, 3 Men and a Little Lady, fucking sucked ass. And yeah, of course, the two come back as zombies, and I didn't like the way the music, the Dutch angels used when the zombies are approaching, and then the unique colors in the backgrounds of certain characters, and the way it ends is fantastic. Because Leslie Nielsen gets his just desserts. It's like, I can hold my breath for a long time. It's memorable. It's a memorable way to end the segment. And the asshole gets his comeuppance. And it's a great line and delivery of the line, in particular by Leslie Nielsen, that cinches it. And again, I always enjoyed that segment. Now we get to the one that most people, including me, feel is the best, the crate. I think that what makes this the best is two things. Number one, the cool looking monster by Tom Savini, which he nicknames Fluffy. It's a cool look. It's like a Tasmanian devil on steroids. It's, you've got all these teeth, and you see it, I think, with the right type of lighting, so it doesn't look too fake or phony. It's got really cool looking creepy eyes, and like, this is a lot better than the whatever the fuck that was in Creepshow 3, which I'll get to, with all the teeth, vampire, whatever the fuck it was. The second thing is the whole Hal Holbrook, who I remember from Rituals and John Carpenter's The Fog, as his henpecked husband, who has this alcoholic lush of a wife played by Adrienne Barbeau, and she just plays such a bitch, but such like a fun bitch. And when he has these dreams, like these daydreams of murdering her, I mean, the part where he blows her brains out and the crowd's like, and Hal Holbrook's like, and then of course it's not real. It's like, snap out of it, of course. Huh? Oh, of course you say huh. That's all you do, huh? That's like a fun way to detail black comedy, dark humor of a husband wanting to murder his shitty wife. Everything's just fine, and then snaps out of it. It's, okay, that's where his head's at. Meanwhile, Fritz Weaver, a good actor, who him and his janitor find this crate, and people get killed. You have this creature with a lot of teeth. It's a cool looking creature. And then the two problems find a way to mutually resolve themselves. Hal Holbrook has a way to get rid of his shitty wife, as well as helping his friend Fritz Weaver take care of this problem. And the part where he has Adrienne Barbeau, and he's just laughing, like he can't contain himself, like it's just, it'd be easier to just see for yourself. There's a funny side. Wait till you see it. I will say one disappointment, Adrienne Barbeau's death, you don't really see much of it. Like, you see her ready to get bitten, but you see no gore. I think some people say you didn't need to see it. I think that would have been a nice, like, exclamation point to really see it, like, dig into her neck and then pull her back, like something. Just with this character that was so bitchy, and you could tell, like, wanted the audience to just almost root for her death. The fact she just kind of gets bit, but we don't see the bite, and then she just pulled in, but we don't really see all that either. It just felt a little bit of a blue ball feel. Maybe that's just me. I think a little bit more intensity, a little bit more blood, a little bit more, or blood at all in that scene would have sufficed, to put it that way. But yeah, Hal Holbrook and Fritz Weaver, they both did a good job in that. Adrienne Barbeau played her role well for what she's supposed to be. I didn't have some nice lighting, like when the creature appears to attack Adrienne Barbeau. The whole idea of this creature that's been in this crate for hundreds of years, and the look of the creature has made such an impact. I think that's one of the big reasons why this became, for many, their favorite segment, is that creature. Such a cool looking. You know what? I'm surprised for Creepshow 2 they didn't do a sequel to that segment, because they only had 3 stories. It was supposed to be 5, but 3. I'm surprised one of them was not a sequel to The Crate because of how popular it seemed. But I guess they don't really do a lot of... There's not a whole lot of anthologies that get sequels, and even if they do, there's not a whole lot of them that really do sequels to a previous segment. At least I can't think of any. Maybe someone out there can, but I can't. I mean, yeah, there's sequels to anthologies. There's Tales from the Hood 2 and 3, which I haven't seen. I'm sure they're shit. Creepshow 2, Creepshow 3, but others. Now, I will say some of my other... I do like Tales from the Hood. I do like Cat's Eye. I do like Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. Trick or Treat, that's a really good one. Tales of Halloween or Tales... There's some stories I don't mind in that. Others, like, yeah. It's better than some of the shit I've seen. I would say the worst anthologies, the one that Danzig directed, I forget what the fuck Glenn Danzig did. Veronica, I think that's what it was called. Creepshow 3. The one, the found footage anthology that... Oh, VHS. Very horrible shit. There's that. Oh yeah, VHS 2 is an anthology. That's a good one. VHS 2. Anyway, back to this. The Crate is a lot of fun. And then the last one I enjoyed as well. They're Creeping Up on You. I thought this was a fun way to end it because for me, this is the creepiest segment. For me, this is the creepiest. Because I hate cockroaches. I hate cockroaches. I've had my share of cockroaches. I've dealt with cockroaches. I fucking hate them. And so, yeah, this character is not a likable character. But unlike Creepshow 3, there are actual characters you like throughout this anthology. I like Jordy Verrill. I feel sorry for him. I like Hal Holbrook. I like Fritz Weaver. I like Ted Danson and felt sorry for him. So, fine, I could deal with a segment where you have an unlikable character like this, who then gets his comeuppance. Because there are actual stories that do have likable characters. And some make it out, like Hal Holbrook. But here, E.G. Marshall, he just plays a real son of a bitch. He's a rich guy who's in this clean room, obsessed with cleanliness, who treats people like dog shit. When someone calls in that someone they knew died or committed suicide, he don't give a fuck. He's like, oh great, we don't have to offer him a chair on the board. Whew. See, so a real nice guy, right? And cockroaches keep popping up everywhere. And again, because if you don't give a shit about cockroaches, you probably won't feel the same way. But for me, not liking them, just seeing them with their fucking antennas, and just how they keep popping up, and like, oh, you ate food, and it was just in the food, and crawling on everywhere. It's just, I've been in situations where I'm sleeping, and something drops on me, and it's a fucking cockroach. So I know how that goes. I know how that goes. Not here. It wasn't here. It was one that was somewhere else. It's like, I've had it happen at least twice. So it's not, I can, when I first saw this, that didn't happen. Watch this again, it creeps me out even more. And then with all the cockroaches, and they use real live cockroaches, and then what happens at the end, and to me, it feels like a shorter segment compared to the others, but at the same time, the right running time. Maybe it's not short, but it felt that way in a good way. Like, for me, it went at a good pace. And just these bugs everywhere, it just, eesh. Oh my god, it's called Creepshow. And it ends with me going, ew, like I'm creeped out. Wow. Like, when Creepshow 3 apparently didn't know what the fuck that meant, here I'm actually creeped out. Ooh. Good job. Good job. Good job. And I thought that was a great way to end it. Well, then you have the wraparound where the kid gets his revenge on the shitty father. But yeah, other than not really being big on the first story, Father's Day, I really enjoyed watching this again. Like I said, I enjoy the style, the lighting, the angles. Like, it's consistent throughout these stories. That gives it much more flair and more intriguing. And the stories are either funny yet tragic, or entertaining revenge, like sometimes something to tide you over, or cool monsters like the crate, or just creepy, like they're creeping up on you. And each one seemed unique. No, one didn't seem like a copy of the other. Whether it be the villain, whether it be the tone, whether it be even the end. Like, they're creeping up on you, the asshole gets his comeuppance. Jordy Verrill, tragic ending. The crate, hey, Hal Holbrook gets his shitty wife away from him, and so in a way a happy ending. Something tied you over, revenge settled. As you know, I'm not really talking much about Father's Day, because you know what, I wish somehow, some way, if you took The Raft, the story The Raft, and instead of Father's Day, you put that here. Like, can you imagine how this anthology would be if you had The Raft as the beginning? Which even that has its problems, which I'll get to, like better acting. I think George Romero would have cast or done better actors than, but I don't hate Creepshow 2, but it does have its issues, which I'll get to. But just imagine like The Raft as the beginning instead of Father's Day. Like, you have The Raft, then Jordy Verrill. Like, you start off strong, and I think you really would have had something. But this is still up there as one of the best anthologies. I don't know what my favorite would be, because I'm partial to Cat's Eye, but this is really good too. I don't know, I have to think about that. With that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye bye.